Today is the day I'm taking the brand new Nike ALPHAFLY 3 out on the first ride. This is really exciting. What is not exciting though is my workout today. Because I'm racing in just a few days, now is not the time to go crazy with a big workout. So I will do my usual taper session, which is 2 times 800 meter, 4 times 400 meter, including the warm-up, the cool-down and the recovery between reps. That should be about 9 or 10k for this morning. So nothing too challenging, but I should still be able to get a proper feel for the ALPHAFLY 3. Test them out at my 10k and 5k pace. Try to take a few corners with them. Just see how they feel. I'm excited. Let's go. First impressions, very snappy. I mean, wow, they really propel you forward. I'm going to join the conversation and talk about the shoes that everyone is talking about at the minute, the long-awaited Nike ALPHAFLY 3. I just want to clarify that I ordered these shoes myself. I was gifted some pairs of Nike shoes in the past to review on my blog, but in this case, this is really not gifted or sponsored in any way. I ordered these myself and I was really lucky that I managed to grab a pair before it sold out everywhere. This shoe has built up a lot of hype prior to its release, mostly because we have seen a lot of Nike athletes wear prototype versions of these shoes in the past few months and run incredible times. Quickly go over the main characteristics of this shoe and what is different compared to the previous versions. Starting with the most obvious, the design. I mean, visually, it does look like a different shoe if you compare. This is the OG ALPHAFLY, my very first pair of ALPHAFLYs. The main characteristic of the ALPHAFLYs before was that they looked almost deconstructed. You had a clear separation here behind the AirPod. And this new version is fully connected. It is just one piece. Now there is still a big cutout which helps to basically take off some of the weight and make it a really light shoe, but it's underneath, so it is way less obvious. With the upper, we've got this new atom knit mesh, which is really lightweight, breathable, as see-through as it can be. We have some padding around the collar, and we've got this integrated knit tongue with lofted padding that helps relieve lace pressure. On race day, you want to tie your laces really tight because you don't want them to come undone mid-race, but sometimes it feels uncomfortable on the upper foot. Well, the aim was to tackle this issue and ensure there is no lace pressure when you decide to tie your laces really tight. Next, it is quite hard to show, but there is quite a difference in the arch of the shoe, the way it is shaped. It is way less pronounced in the V3. If you worn the ALPHAFLY OG or the V2, then you will know that the arch was quite noticeable, and it was an issue for many people because it could get quite painful, especially when you were doing long distances in the shoes. With this version, it's almost like they kind of like trimmed it or shaved it off. It is much more subtle, and if it was an issue for you before, it is likely to not be an issue anymore. You still get to enjoy the legendary Zoom X foam, which is made from P-backs. It is now fully connected, and we still have the 2 AirPods that are gonna give that responsive kind of like propulsive feel. Another noticeable improvement is that the full-length carbon plate is now slightly wider to help make you feel more stable. And finally, if we look at the outsole, the rubber does look different. This one does look and feel a bit of ASMR, more grippy. So you can see that at the front, the rubber doesn't go up as high as it used to. Let's fire through some quick figures before I tell you about my experience and my first impressions from my run this morning. So the heel to toe drop 8mm, same as the previous version. How light is this shoe? So according to Nike's website, it is 174 grams for a woman's UK 5.5 and 218 grams for a men's UK 9. For this men's size, it's close to 30 grams lighter compared to the ALPHAFLY 2. Now, I put mine on the scale. For my small UK 4, the shoe weighs 158 grams, quite a bit lighter than my On Cloud Boom Echo 3, which were the last pair of super shoes that I bought before I got these ones last week. How much for these? Well, in the UK they retail at £284.99. I mean, let's be honest, it's not an accessible shoe, it is an investment, it is a premium super shoe that comes with a premium price tag, and personally, I really hope that they're gonna last me for quite a while. Moving on to my very first impressions of these shoes this morning. So there are three main things that really stood out for me. The main one, the biggest one, is the comfort. I was very pleasantly surprised. If you were around when I started making running videos, you may remember that it did take me a while to get used to the OG ALPHAFLYs. I bought them in November 2021 on a Black Friday sale, and I only managed to do my first race in them in May 2022. That's how long it took me to get used to them. I was trying to do sessions with them, and the main pain point was really that arch that was so pronounced. It was painful. I would always end up with blisters in that area. So the fact that now it is way less noticeable just feels so much smoother inside the shoe. Oh, I'm here for it. So I do find the upper a bit more comfortable. It's a bit more accommodating is maybe the word I would say. It is just a completely different experience between my first try of the OG and my first try of these this morning. So much so that I'm thinking, you know what, I could totally race in those on Sunday. Like, these might be my race shoes, even though I've only worn them for not even 10k. Second point is the stability. I feel more stable in these shoes. I feel more confident taking corners. And you know, in some uneven tarmac sections, your foot can go a little bit outwards or just lose balance a little bit. With these ones, I feel more in control when this happens. Finally, this is a very snappy shoe, incredibly responsive, incredibly smooth as well. I really like that it's now in one piece. It does feel like fully connected. And I don't know if Nike have changed anything to the actual AirPods, but it does feel like with these shoes, you're really kind of like maximizing the energy return. So I read a couple reviews of these shoes, and there were a few mentions of the shoes being aggressive, and I was like, aggressive? What do you mean? And now that I've tried them, I get it. Aggressive, not in a bad way, but just incredibly snappy and responsive. These shoes, they're not messing around. They are here to make you go fast, and they're gonna propel you forward almost whether you want it or not. And you know, considering that in the grand scheme of things, I'm like an average, like mid-pack runner, I'm like, how good does it feel if you're like a really speedy runner and you wear these shoes? That must feel absolutely incredible. A slight concern, and I don't have an answer for it yet, is how durable this shoe is going to be. For the price, you really want to get a bunch of races and a bunch of miles out of them. This can't be a shoe that you wear for just a couple races and then goodbye. I really hope they're going to be as durable as my OG ALPHAFLYs, because once I had learned to get on with those, I did a lot in those shoes. And of course, I don't know how they do in the rain. I don't know how grippy this is on wet pavement. The upper, I think, is meant to be hydrophobic, so meant to protect you a little bit from being completely soaked. But with this fabric and the rain, I don't know how the friction would feel. I think if I were to race on a rainy day, I might prefer the Cloud Boom Echo 3 over these, just because I know that the Cloud Boom Echo 3 in the rain, they do great, and these, well, so far, I have no idea. And the last point I wanted to touch on is the fact that these shoes have been predominantly advertised as marathon shoe, which I get because we've seen stellar performances over the marathon distance from the Nike athletes. But if you're not a marathon runner, I am not, don't think that these super shoes are not for you. They're so light and snappy that, to me, they lend themselves really well to short distances. I would totally wear them for 10k. I might wear them for my 10k this weekend, actually, or even a 5k. So these are my first impressions of the ALPHAFLY 3s. I hope some of it was helpful if you wanted to find out more about these shoes. If you managed to get your hands on the prototype colorway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think when you wore them for the first time, and what distances are you going to use these shoes for? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!